雷電律令呪言チョック聖なる雷光雷光意図美しきかな律令呪言チョック裁きの雷無我の境地ふっだっはっよっそこ夜の権限翼よ律令呪言チョック雷に捧ぐ神道の権限律令呪言チョック逃げ道はありませんここより弱滅の時ふんストップそこ律令チョック呪言浄土を開放させ
黒き翼よ昼夜を切り裂きな
有限なる雷光律令呪言あ散れ稲光すなわち永遠なり
行きましょうソーランの憩い雪を前踊りなさい風雪なしくず桜吹雪
競争よ化身となれ念の表像具現せよ
ごわふっはっ深海の加護失策ですはっはっはっやっ姿を
見切りましたチョック律令聖なる雷光雷光意図美しきかなチョック呪言チョック
夜の権限
裁きの雷ヒュッてはっ無我の境地やって逃げ道はありません
断罪の名に
律令雷に刺す有限なる雷光呪言チョック
影のカラスが優也を求めている
ここより弱滅の時はっやったっとっふんてったふん聖なる雷光
夜の権限行きましょう
アビスに使えよ
おさわり相関化粧瑠璃のように落ちなさい具現せよ念の表像律令に従え取った
あれ狂いなさい
連気過信失礼部外者禁止この仕事は排除するべきですね踊りなさい神里流透明競争よ決勝相関化粧失礼呪言チョック翼よはっ雷光意図美しきかな稲光すなわち永遠なりはっへっはっさっ
黒き翼よ昼夜を切り裂きなさい
来戦呪言律令浄土を開口さし神道の権限呪言裁きの雷ここより灼熱の時やってたってやった
夜の権限
チョック雷に刺す来光意図美しきかな律令チョック稲光
Alright everyone, so let's talk about Yae Miko and Raiden Shogun, the synergy between the two, and then I want to talk about Yae Miko and her supposed energy problems in general. So I think this is why I want to make this video, to give both of these things like an in-depth treatment. So Raiden and Yae, in my opinion, is one of the best synergies in Genshin Impact, and it is so by design, and you can clearly see why. Raiden Shogun wants to be on field. Raiden Shogun is all about her elemental burst, her Q ability. What happens during her elemental burst? Well, she restores energy for the entire team, which is really nice. Yae Miko, well, her entire kit is sort of focused on her elemental skill, and whilst Raiden is busy actively sort of hitting the enemy, Yae Miko is also contributing to the damage, so there's no damage loss, or you've got a reduced damage loss from the team, because Yae Miko is just passively dealing off-field damage, and Raiden Shogun is getting particles, so her next burst is going to be ready, which means she can then battery the team even more, and so on and so forth. It's like a fantastic design. The one character wants to be off field, the other character wants to be on field, and the combination of the two really synergizes well. Yae Miko gives Raiden more resolve stacks, and Raiden Shogun can then smack the enemy even harder. Raiden Shogun's E can benefit Yae Miko's Q, and so on and so forth. So this is really cool, and I think the biggest thing that Raiden Shogun provides is via her, I think, skill, the Enlightened One, you essentially reduce Yae Miko's elemental burst cost from 90 to 70 for most builds. In my case, it's to about 65. Again, your mileage may vary a bit on that, but the point stands, this high energy burst cost on Yae Miko has now been reduced with Raiden Shogun. So the synergy is just absolutely amazing, and if you throw an official or Kujo Sora, it is very difficult, well, especially in this mono electro team, to sort of not have your elemental burst up like non-stop. I've ran like mono electro teams before with the Traveler and Kaching, and I can honestly say the combination of Fischl and Yae Miko, you just have your burst up non-stop, and if you don't have it up, you'll have it up pretty soon, and that's like what's so cool about this. And this is all with a C0 Yae. In fact, the big advantage that I've got is I've got a C6 Raiden, which means my Yae Miko doesn't need to worry about being on standby. In other words, having your elemental burst come up too soon, and hence it's just sort of sitting there waiting to come off cooldown. And that's an issue you might get if you try and if you go for Yae Miko's Constellation 1, because Constellation 1 paired with Raiden Shogun can reduce that 90 burst cost up like down to 50, and then, well, since you've got 22 seconds of waiting, you know, it's kind of like dead space that you're wasting on energy recharge substats on Yae Miko. And this is the point that I wanted to make. Yae Miko's Constellation 1 is not about solving some imaginary energy problem that she's got. It's about allowing you to redistribute your substat and artifact passives, etc., to be more damaged focused. Right now, my Yae Miko is running 2-piece emblem for that extra bit of energy recharge, and I've got her at C1, and if I activate C1, it just means I can put on a different artifact set that will allow her to do more damage, perhaps give her some EM. And this is the thing, Yae Miko doesn't have an energy problem. I think the problem is the community wants to fit this character with Bennett and Kazuha and all these other characters, and then when she doesn't have her elemental burst ready to do the big numbers or the big, you know, damage per screenshot that everyone wants to get for their YouTube videos, they all complain about her. And in fact, when you take Yae Miko and you put her in a mono electro team, she works well, and if you put her into a taser team, which ironically also makes sense with the character, you can also see that at C0 she doesn't really have an energy problem. And this is what's interesting to me about Yae Miko. Not only does she work really well with Raiden herself, and she gives you hypermobility, Yae Miko, via her passive that gives you more damage with your elemental mastery, clearly indicates that this character was made for reaction. She was supposed to be used in a reaction based team comp. That's kind of like the purpose of Yae Miko, because she's providing you almost 100% uptime or non-stop off-field electro damage, and she's generating particles, and that is just absolutely amazing for a reaction-based team comp like the variant that I'm running, the little Taser Dance team, which is just Tsukakumon without Xiangling. And in that team, you don't have any energy issues at C0, and that's just because of the way in which I built Yae Miko. And if I had C1, all I would do is I just replace my artifacts so that I can do more damage with Yae Miko, and that's just how it works. So I think the idea that she's got energy problems is an old one. How many times has it happened that a character comes out and it's like, oh, this character's got energy problems? Ayaka, Eula, Ito, etc., etc. At the end of the day, I think we need to be realistic about the characters, how they should be built, and all these sorts of things, and just acknowledge that perhaps it's, you know, it's not just one big issue that's like the nail in the coffin to a character, but perhaps let's just give characters a fair chance to shine for what they were intended to do. In my opinion, the energy recharge argument is it kind of falls flat, and that's just based off my practical experience. But perhaps I'm building Mario and Miko wrong. Let me know, I'm not sure. In any case, guys, that's just all that I wanted to say. Best synergy in the game, and Yae Miko absolutely rocks. Cheers!